Mara, I've followed your work for such a long time with the Tears Foundation, but many possibly don't know where it stems from. What was your inspiration and motivation to start Tears?
I'm a survivor of abuse. It nearly cost me my life. And when I managed to get my momentum back, which it knocked the wind out of me, I even had to learn to drive again. And I realized that the systems in our country don't help victims of rape and abuse. So I decided that I would start an organization, but first I had to heal. So one of the things that I do when I go and address things, I wear my crown.
All right.
Because I'm a proud survivor. I love my life. Can you imagine getting up every day and doing a job that fills all the spaces in your heart and soul? What a privilege. So every single day we are able to help people, and it comes from my heart. But I also wear the crown as a symbol is that your past doesn't define you. I'm not that broken person crying at the Randburg police station for help. I'm not the person who limped for 6 months and couldn't walk and thought I'd never walk again. I'm not the person who lost her marriage. I'm Mina, I'm whole. And so I want to say to other people, and that's what Tears is about. I started an organization that helps people become whole again. And so that's always my dream. We care about the people. We love them.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about that journey, because I think part of why people struggle to escape their abusive relationships and situations is because of the stigma, whether it's attached by what we think people will say or even evidently what people do say. So talk to me about that journey of reclaiming who you are.
Well, Poppy, I'd like to start in another place because what we do not tell women is that 6 women a day in South Africa are murdered by their intimate partners. And research has shown that mostly those murders take place because the women want to leave. And so we always say, why don't you leave? Well, they don't leave because they don't know how to leave. They're immobilized. So if we take a step back and then you become trapped in the situation, and when you finally want to leave, you consider that it's your fault. You take the blame. You can't be responsible for someone cheating on you. We've just had a high-profile case where she got an STD from her partner. In my case, he had an affair, and it was extremely unhappy. But every case is individual and unhappy. So we take the shame upon ourselves of our partner's poor action, and that's what makes us feel ashamed. Right. So we need to teach people, you are not responsible for your partner's bad behavior. You can leave. You will be okay on your own.
Oh. It sometimes feels that you need someone to hold your hand through it, and that's what Tears does. Can you tell us some of the ways that you do that?
Yes, we do that because I didn't get that.
Yeah.
And I know it's needed. And so what we do is things like we will arrange for someone to go to court with them. Because if you've never been to court, it's a very scary place. We will help them get the protection order because, quite honestly, many of the people that work within our government organizations at the courts are extremely rude and uncaring. You're just a number. So nobody is a number with us. We help them get their protection orders. We help them walk their way through. We help them as well follow up on their case because our system is so overcrowded, and to a large extent the police are undertrained.
Right.
They cannot help these people. So we literally do everything from helping them send their child for evaluation, because one of the biggest crimes in our country is abuse of children. What do? You're a mom, you want to love your child, and suddenly there's a difficulty. Where do you go?
Right. Plus
you don't have the money to go to a high-profile place. So all our services that we provide, we try to provide free services that are excellent. I will never provide a service for someone that is a low cost and low quality. Yeah. Absolutely not. So we try to be their friend. Do you know what? Healing is your own responsibility. I just want to make that point. I've got no magic wand. I can't wave it over people, send a helicopter to fetch you.
Don't we wish we could? Don't we wish we could?
You all have to get up. If you've been injured, if you've been abused, if you've been raped, you have to stand up, put your crown on, and take grasp the situation. We'll walk with you, but we cannot do it for you.
I'm sure you've been asked this a lot. Where does this come from? Why do we have a spike in gender-based violence, in femicide? It's probably been there since our parents' generations, but it does seem like something is different in this modern time.
You know, if I knew the answer, I would actually sell it worldwide because everybody's searching for that answer, and I don't think we have. It's elusive.
Yeah.
But I can tell you my personal thoughts are that the roles of masculinity is changing. We women are becoming more assertive. We can live on our own. We don't need a man. We choose to have one. We want to have one, but we're not totally dependent. We've all got careers. We are not taught how to be in relationships.
Both men and women.
Where are our relationships?
Right.
So we look at our parents who probably didn't do the best job because they also were training on the job.
Yes.
And so we don't know. It's like being a parent. How do you be a parent? We aren't taught.
It's on the job training.
On the job training. And then the other thing is that we have a lot of cultural inequalities that are incorrect. For example, we revere our pastor, priest, or whatever. And then that he plays an unrealistic role. We don't say no to him. We find a lot of sexual abuse in organizations. But then you look at all our role models, and I sound a bit feminist with this. I do apologize for those who are watching, but I am a proud feminist. The difference is I don't want to burn men and hate them. I just want to be myself. And so the problem is all our institutions are male-run. So every decision that's made in our country and in our world is seen from a male perspective. And that's very difficult. So the answer is I don't have the answer.
Well, you know, speaking of feminism, if you really understand it, is something that will aid both men and women by taking away that toxicity in either of the roles. And I think that's such an important point that you make, Mara. The importance of community and support. What are your thoughts?
Well, I do think that we are very judgmental. I work with a lot of organizations because I do not believe that I can do it alone.
Of course.
And in the same way, they can't do it alone. So if we don't pool our resources, we're never going to fight this terrible scourge, ever. So one of the difficulties, we're very quick to victim blame. They're talking about community. So it will always be mostly the woman's fault. She wore that skirt, she was there late, what was she doing walking through the park? And those are probably good questions to ask. However, it is her right to walk through that park, wear the short skirt and get drunk, even if it doesn't suit your norms. And so we are a society that is very quick to point a finger at someone, and yet we need them to form groups to protect the people to walk through the parks. So until society acknowledges that it's not a sensational crime, it's a societal problem that we must all deal with. Together we can make a difference.
I've been asking survivors about what their message of hope is. If somebody is watching at home who's in that very critical time of making a decision whether to leave or not and trying to gather resources, because I know you have to have a plan in order to leave safely, what would you say to them, Mara?
You know, some years ago, when I was trying to get my act together, because you can't do that, but I'm saying trying to.
Sure.
I went to have a makeup lesson because I realized I'd lost the plot. And as I sat in front of the mirror, the tears rolled down my face. And this poor young lady didn't know what she'd done wrong. And at that moment, she said, "What's the problem?" I said, "I'm so ugly. No one will ever love me again." And I realized in that moment, which is my message for the people, you have to be responsible for your own life. You have to make the changes. If it means getting a new job, get the new job. It's scary. You'd feel like me, like crying.
Yeah.
And you may cry, but take the plunge. There are so many organizations. Reach out for help. We're all too proud. In my time, there wasn't someone. Reach out for help. There are many organizations in South Africa. So my motto always is, get up, get dressed, and show up.
Get up, get dressed, and show up. It is not your fault that it happened to you, but it's your responsibility to dig yourself out of that hole.
Absolutely.
Oh man, what a message. We'll be sharing the information for Tears And we wish you more and more strength. And wherever you're mining that motivation and energy to keep helping from, may it overflow. Thank you.
My pleasure.